You're only 72 hours away from a new reality, but not because your spouse suddenly changes. The shift begins in one place, your mind. If you dare to think differently, feel differently, and expect differently, quietly, silently, secretly, your marriage will respond in ways you can't even imagine. You don't need to beg. You don't need long conversations. You don't even need them to agree with you. What you need is a decision to stop repeating the same story in your head and to start imagining something greater. Right now, your mind is either rehearsing the problem or creating the solution. That's the hidden battlefield. And once you take control of it, once you begin deliberately feeling what it's like to live and love again, everything changes. Not after months, not after therapy, but within 72 hours. Because when you command your inner world, the outer one has no choice but to adjust. Every thought you think is a blueprint. Every feeling you repeat is a silent order to life. If you constantly dwell in what's wrong, what they're not doing, what they said, how distant they feel, you are unintentionally keeping the same pattern alive. But the moment you stop feeding those thoughts and instead begin imagining your marriage already healed, already beautiful, already full of love, you activate a new script. It's not about lying to yourself, it's about choosing a better truth, a truth that makes your heart feel lighter, a truth that sets off a chain reaction of peace, presence, and power. Don't underestimate how powerful a few silent minutes each day can be. Sit with yourself, close your eyes, and play the scene you wish to experience. Picture the laughter, the connection, the forgiveness. Hear their voice saying what you've longed to hear, not out of fantasy, but out of faith. Feel your chest soften as if the conflict is over, as if the healing has begun. Let your body believe it before your eyes see it. Because this is how creation begins, not with action, but with awareness. Not with effort, but with emotion. When you imagine something vividly enough, you begin to act from it. And when you act from it, the world mirrors it. Your spouse may not know what changed, but they will feel it. You won't react the same. You won't shrink in fear or lash out in frustration. You'll walk with peace. You'll speak from calm. And they'll respond not to the old you, but to the version of you who stopped waiting and started embodying. This is the law of reflection. We don't change others by force, we change them by shifting our own frequency first. This is not about ignoring reality. It's about upgrading it at the root. The mind is the command center. If you keep replaying emotional wounds, you reopen them. But if you mentally rehearse love even when things feel heavy, you begin to inject healing into your home. This is not wishful thinking. This is conscious reprogramming. This is spiritual engineering. The marriage you want already exists in potential. Your job is to mentally align with it before the clock hits the 72-hour mark. Do this consistently before sleep, upon waking, and anytime your mind wants to wander into fear. Bring it back. Replay the better outcome. Visualize a peaceful dinner, a warm conversation, a hand held not out of habit, but out of real affection. Feel the presence of love even if you're sitting in silence. Your inner world must become more real to you than temporary mess outside. Because when your mind becomes steady, your environment starts to shift in ways you didn't plan but always wanted. This isn't manipulation. You're not trying to change them. You're changing your response. You're tuning into the version of reality where the storm has passed and the sun is shining again. When you think from peace, speak from love, and walk from power, you don't chase healing, it comes to you. The marriage doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be reimagined, and your mind holds the pen. So if you're tired of waiting for something to shift, start shifting in your imagination first. No one has to know. You don't need to say a word. Just feel it, live it, assume it. Let it fill your chest like it already happened. Watch how your tone softens. Watch how your partner stares a little longer. Watch how life begins to organize itself around your inner change. Within 72 hours, you'll see a flicker of the very thing you envisioned. And once you do, keep going. Because if your mind could change the course of your marriage in 3 days, imagine what it could do in 30. The power was never outside you. It was always hidden in plain sight in your thoughts, in your emotions, in your silent visions. You're not broken. Your marriage isn't doomed. It's simply waiting on one thing, for you to believe again, inside your mind, that love is still possible. And once you believe, transformation isn't just possible, it's unstoppable. Your mind is not just a thought machine, it is the architect of every emotional experience within your relationship. Each time you mentally replay frustration, betrayal, or disappointment, you reinforce the walls that keep connection out. But the moment you decide to shift your inner dialogue, the atmosphere of your marriage begins to respond. It doesn't start with words or actions, it starts with what you silently expect. Your thoughts are not private when they carry emotional weight. They are energetic instructions. If you want to see love return, start thinking in the language of love. Let your inner world whisper peace, even when your outer world feels loud. Slowly, the dynamic begins to follow your lead, thought by thought, feeling by feeling. Change doesn't always announce itself, but it always begins where the world can't see, in the quiet of your own mind. You don't need anyone's approval to start the shift. You don't have to wait for your partner to agree or participate. That's the beauty of inner work, it only requires you. You are free to begin imagining something better, even if no one around you believes it's possible. And as you continue to feed that inner image, your entire experience begins to bend toward it. This isn't about fantasy, it's about inner permission. The moment you give yourself the freedom to believe again, your soul begins to breathe. No begging, no fixing, no control. Just quiet certainty that love can return. Just silent determination to think in ways that heal. And when you hold that vision long enough, reality adjusts to honor it. Not because you pushed it to, but because you believed it would. Every time you rehearse something emotionally, your body follows. Your tone shifts. Your posture changes. Your energy becomes magnetic or repelling. That's why imagining healing moments is not a weak exercise, it's the most potent one. When you see your spouse smiling, laughing, leaning in, your nervous system calms. Your heart opens, and your voice softens without you even realizing. The mind doesn't just influence your thoughts, it trains your emotions to align with the image it holds. Rehearse conflict, and you'll live in tension. Rehearse peace, and you'll bring it into the room before you speak. The more you visualize harmony, the more your body makes room for it. Eventually, it becomes your natural state, and that state is powerful enough to shift the entire tone of your marriage. You don't have to say a word for your spouse to notice something different. When your inner world transforms, your energy subtly shifts. You no longer respond with the same triggers. You no longer seek the same approval. You begin to carry a quiet peace, a new confidence. They feel it, even if they can't explain it. Something in your tone, in your stillness, makes them lean in. And this transformation didn't happen in front of them, it happened within you. That's the power of 72 hours of mental focus. When your thoughts are aligned with love, with hope, with healing, you give off a frequency that changes how others engage with you. Your spouse will feel drawn not to a version of you trying harder, but to a version of you who is finally rooted in inner peace. Whether you're aware of it or not, you are always assuming something about your relationship. Every glance, every silence, every moment of distance is filtered through what you expect. If you assume disappointment, you'll find proof. If you assume closeness, you'll start responding from it. And when your responses change, your relationship begins to follow. You don't need to make loud declarations. Your assumptions are already doing that for you. So become deliberate. Choose thoughts that serve the marriage you want, not the one you fear. Even if it feels like pretending at first, keep choosing the better outcome. Because assumption isn't a guess, it's a decision about what your heart wants to be true. And when you honor that decision consistently, it becomes more than a thought, it becomes your new experience. Your imagination is your sacred design room. It's where your future is drawn before it's lived. If you keep using it to reimagine pain, you keep building emotional prisons. But when you start using it to see beauty, peace, and connection, you begin to build freedom. Close your eyes and see your partner happy to see you. Hear them say, "I'm so grateful we're back in this place." Don't question it. Just feel it. Stay in that vision until it becomes more real than your fears. And then carry that feeling through your day. You're not escaping reality, you're planting new seeds into it. Your future marriage is shaped more by imagination than memory. Create wisely. Create intentionally. And the world will respond. You've spent enough time analyzing what went wrong. You've recited the pain, repeated the arguments, and memorized the disappointment. But now it's time to create something new. Not by force, but by focus. Every time you catch yourself returning to the old story, stop and replace it. Replace it with the scene you desire. Replace the memory of distance with the image of closeness. Replace resentment with understanding, not because the past didn't happen, but because your future deserves a new author. That author is you. The story you silently repeat becomes the story you live. So stop rehearsing heartbreak. Start rehearsing healing. Do it with full belief that change begins in thought before it ever touches the physical world. Love is not lost. It's simply misplaced beneath fear and repetition. The moment you begin feeling love in your imagination again, you begin to pull it forward into your daily life. Imagine their arms around you, not because they're there, but because you've chosen to feel safe again. Feel their appreciation. Feel the shared laughter. Let those invisible emotions become your internal reality. And soon the outer world begins to respond. The more real it becomes inside, the less resistance exists outside. You're not waiting for proof. You're providing it. You're demonstrating faith in the unseen. And that faith moves mountains. It reopens hearts. It brings back warmth where coldness once lived. Trying to change your partner rarely works. But changing the mental image you hold of them changes how you see them, and that changes how they show up. You've stared at their flaws long enough. Now try seeing their potential. See them with patience. See them with softness. Even if they're distant, don't let your mind feed the distance. Let it build bridges instead. See them returning. See them remembering who you are. The mind creates emotional momentum. And when you create upward momentum, your partner begins to respond from a different place. Not because you forced them, but because you invited them into a higher version of the relationship. That invitation begins in thought. Arguing, pleading, analyzing, none of it can do what silent mental alignment can do in 3 days. Give yourself 72 hours of focus. Close your eyes several times a day and feel the marriage already healed. Walk through your day as if love has returned. Speak like you've already been heard. Respond like the problem is already dissolving. That mental atmosphere creates emotional safety, and that safety invites openness. Change happens fastest when there is no resistance, and resistance drops when belief rises. So for 3 days, don't try to figure things out, just feel things differently. Let your heart lead. Let your thoughts become your secret practice. And then watch. The shift will begin quietly, but its impact will speak volumes.